Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be adding all of the dependencies that we require to actually code our chat application. So these dependencies include plugins for Firebase, as well as our state management library that we're going to be using, such as Provider, and a handful of other little libraries that will actually help us code our application more efficiently. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how to add these dependencies. As a side note, if you'd like to have access to the documentation for these plugins, the easiest way to do so is to go at pub.dev, and this is where you can have access to all of the packages on Flutter. So pub.dev, and for example, if I type in Flutter, or not Flutter, sorry, Firebase _core, you can see that there's the plugin, the current version, as well as the changelog for it, examples, how to install it, things like that. But the basic gist of installing plugins into Flutter just details to you going to the pubspec.yaml file, and from there going down to where you have the dependencies section, and under these dependency sections you actually add all of the different plugins that you might require or packages. So to get started, the first package that we're going to be using is going to be called Firebase Core. And just as a side note, if you see me interchanging the word packages or plugins, it's basically the same things, but in Flutter terminology, these external libraries that we load into our application are known as packages. So the first is going to be Firebase Core, and the version is going to be 1.6.0. Then we are going to use Firebase Storage as well, because we need access to the Firebase Storage functionality. With this, we'll also need access to the Firebase authentication functionality, so we'll have Firebase Auth. With this, I'll also require access to the Cloud Firestore database that's a part of Firestore, so I'll have that plugin as well. Then for our state management, we're going to be using the Provider framework, so I'll add that. Similar to this, I'll also use a package that is going to allow us to register singleton instances of classes within our application, and how we're going to use this is going to become apparent later on in later videos, but for now I'd recommend that you add it, which is going to be getit. Similar to this, to have the functionality of actually being able to pick files from our Android or iOS device, namely the images, we are going to have the file picker package. This, I'd also like to add some custom loading animations to our application. So for that, I'm going to add a plugin known as Flutter Spin Kit. And then finally, the last two plugins are going to be Timeago, and this plugin allows us to actually format strings by passing in a relative time, so that we can have strings that show up as 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 second ago, 2 seconds ago. And this is what we're going to be using to actually show what time a message was sent. And finally, the last thing is going to be a plugin that is going to indicate to us when a keyboard opens on the device. And that is going to be Flutter Keyboard Visibility. So with all of these, then I'm going to do Command Save. And then what I'm going to do is that I am actually going to wait for the Flutter plugin to actually do Flutter pub-get. But if for some reason this does not automatically happen, what you can do is click on the terminal and open up a new terminal instance, and from there actually go to the appropriate directory where you have your Flutter project. Since I opened up the terminal inside of VS Code, I'm already inside the corresponding directory. So here what you can do, you can just type in Flutter pub get, and for whatever project that you're inside of it, it'll go and grab all of the packages for it. So with this, as you can see, we're done. So now that this is done, the last thing that I'm going to do is that I am going to just run this application, and I am going to go to the main.dot file, sorry, and then run this application. And once this application is actually running on the simulator, then I'll resume our video. Okay, so welcome back, people. As you can see, we've already encountered our first error, and this error pertains to iOS. So instead of actually going and fixing these errors in this video, I do not want to confuse people which might be using an Android simulator. So what I'll do is that I'll end this video here, and now in the next section, we are going to be actually taking a look at how to set up Firebase inside of our iOS applications as well as Android applications, and how to fix these specific errors that pertain to either Android or iOS. So with that, I'm going to end this video here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.